Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to another convention review. Today I'm talking about SummerCon 2025. And just like every other time that I do these reviews, I also have a merch and autograph video where I show off all those things, and that'll be up in the top corner here or down in the description. So first, I should probably explain why I have black hair right now. I don't normally have dark black hair, and it may look weird for those of you who haven't seen that and have been watching my videos. That has to do with the con, so it's part of this video anyway. So I'll just talk about that real quick. But first, just know that this convention is in Puyallup, Washington, at the fairgrounds. It's the Washington State Fairgrounds, formerly known as the Puyallup Fairgrounds, but whatever. And it's always sometime near the end of June. So there. It's midsummer, whatever. Anyway, so this year we had decided to cosplay from real people. So most people will do that with a movie or something like that, where it's like they're cosplaying, which we saw like Jack Sparrow or something like that, where it's an actual person that you're cosplaying. But we actually were cosplaying members of a band called Slipknot, which is I'm a metalhead, so yeah, I've known Slipknot for ever since they started, basically. We were doing that, and that's why my hair is black. I was dressed as, because I play guitar, I was dressed as their guitar player, Mick Thompson. Atlas was Corey, the vocalist, and Hardy was Sean, one of the percussionists, because they have those big orchestra timpani things. And the one he was doing, Sean, is the one who, if you ever listen to Slipknot, they have a lot of their songs, they'll have a metal bang sound, which is actually a bat hitting a keg. So that's that sound. And that's what he does. That's what Sean does. He's the one who, usually it's him. They have two guys that do these at the same time, like whatever. So while one of them is doing one thing, the other one will do the other things. And he's usually the one known for hitting the keg. So we were going to do that. However, the whole time it was basically raining. So that ruined our entire weekend plans. So what we were going to do was film a music video, but not really, just like a convention type music video where we're running around the convention doing things. I was going to be playing to the song. Atlas was going to be doing the vocals to the song, and Hardy was going to be just messing around to the song because he only has like one word a couple times throughout each chorus, and that's it. He doesn't do anything. And the rest of the time he's doing the big drums, and we don't have those. So there's nothing for him to do. So we're going to have him walk around with a bat, just for the hell of it. And I made up a bat for him and everything out of a plastic bat that I had. We got all the costumes done and everything. We did them at SummerCon, but we didn't film any of it because it was really late at night, and we were only doing it for like 3 hours. And it was just easier to not film while we were doing that. And so this time I was gonna vlog doing all that, as well as we were gonna do the video that I was just talking about. We were going to do it to the song Before I Forget. So Atlas learned all the lyrics and everything, and I've known how to play that song for years now, so I figured that would be cool. But then Friday, on the way there, it started heavy pouring down rain. It was already like light misting out, which is like, okay, that's fine. We might be able to get away with that a little bit because it won't ruin our electronics. But literally every time we walked out of the building, it would start pouring down rain. And then when we'd go back in, it would stop. We would even get to the point where it would be no rain. We would go back out, and immediately it would start pouring down rain as hard as possible again. And we don't know why it kept doing that. I think the universe is against us doing this, so I don't know what happened. But we couldn't do it. And so Friday was just horrible for the majority of the day, which leads into how the weekend got better. But that whole half of the day was just, we were so angry and so upset. Like, I even took my costume off and like threw it into the cart that we had and everything because I was so mad. And I just put the guitar away and I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. We're not cosplaying the rest of the weekend. I don't care. So me and Atlas decided we weren't going to do that anymore until we know we can do it, which might not even be till SummerCon now. But during the second half of Friday, closer to the end of the day, because it ended at 7, so this is maybe about 4 o'clock or so p.m. It's 3 or 4. We were waiting for a couple of the voice actors to get back. We were asking about another one we were looking for, Melissa Fawn, and we thought she was going to be up in the anime section because she is Ed from Cowboy Bebop. And we were like, okay, she might be in the anime, but there's nobody. She's not up here. She's not in with anybody at the anime section. We've seen all the tables. Where is she? There's another building that they actually label as Expo Hall. And I don't know what it is in the fairgrounds because I don't go anymore. I haven't gone since like 2008 or something. So I don't know what the fairgrounds is like anymore. So I don't know what that building's for. I'm guessing it's where they're gonna have like vendors in the fair or something, like indoor vending. But I have no idea. So, but in there, they like to put the cartoon voice actors in there, like the Western cartoons. So they had like the Ninja Turtles, Maurice LaMarche, who's like Brain from Pinky and the Brain and stuff like that, and then Rob Paulson, who is like he's Yakko from Animaniacs, and he's one of the Ninja Turtles. I don't remember. I think he's Raphael. I don't remember, but whatever. Anyway, he's that. So they're usually in there, and I forgot that Melissa Fawn is Gaz in Invader Zim, and they have Gur's voice actor, which I don't remember his name, but they had him in that. We know he's in that building because he's a cartoon voice actor, not anime, and he's not celebrity voice actor or an actual celebrity. So we were like, oh, she's probably down there. So, but before we figured that out, we went to the Digital Circus people. They had them in the anime section. I don't know. They had the Has-Been Hotel people up there too in the anime section because that's probably as close as they're going to get because the other building was taken up by the other voice actors that are in cartoons. So I don't know. But anyway, we get up to the Digital Circus people because I'm like, there's nobody they're not at their tables right now, but there's a staff member here. Let me ask the staff member if they can figure out where Melissa is. And while we were doing that, and while we were asking her, she said, "Oh, there's possibly a chance that they don't have that Melissa doesn't have a banner behind her because there's a couple people here who weren't announced and whatever." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool, I guess. But I mean, they should have announced them, but whatever." She's like, "Yeah, like Marissa Lenti over here." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" I've been waiting for Marissa Lenti for a couple of, like 4 years now. Like, okay, thank you. So yeah, had to go over there and get her. But like, why would you not announce that you have other guests? What is this con doing? I think they don't know how to run a convention. They had so many bad things happening at this convention, like they don't know how to run it. And they even I'll get into the rest of it in a minute. But when we were over there, so we were like, oh, Marissa Lenti's here, sweet. So we went over and talked to her for like a half hour because she had nobody in line because nobody knew she was there. And so she just looked like somebody sitting down at a table like a staff would, and she had a little thing, like a chair that had a mask of her character Gangle from Digital Circus that said, "I'm the voice of Gangle," but it's kind of, you have to really be looking for it. I didn't even notice it until we got up there and Atlas pointed it out. I was like, oh, I didn't even see that. So people aren't even knowing that she's there. And most people aren't there for the Digital Circus things. They're there for the Has-Been Hotel if they're up there usually, or they're there for all the celebrities, like the big celebrities, like movies and stuff, or they're there for the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. But they're not there for Digital Circus, so nobody knows that she's even there. And apparently they had another voice actor from Digital Circus there who was just running around, not really signing autographs, but she was there still. But that one's fine because she wasn't doing autographs, so don't announce her, obviously. But since Marissa was doing autographs, they should have announced that they had her there because I have multiple things for her to sign. What happens if someone's coming from like out of state or something? All of a sudden, this person they've been wanting to see is here and nobody said anything. So they brought nothing for her. Why would you not announce that? If you know she's going to be there, announce it. I don't know how hard that is for them to do, but it can't be that hard. It's not difficult to just put, hey, we have this extra guest. Really, really bad management. So I don't know. But since we found her, we were like, okay, I guess I'm coming back tomorrow to get you on other things. So I had to bring more stuff and spend more money. But I was like, I'm fine with that because I was going to spend money on her eventually anyway. But the point is, say something. Tell us that these other guests are here, please. And then back onto what I was saying about ADA now, because now that part's over. So let's talk about something else. We went to the ADA line thing because Atlas and I both need it. Well, we usually need it. If the line's only like 2 or 3 people, that's no different than being in the ADA line of a big line anyway. So we just get in the line. You know, if it's only a few people, we're fine. But if it's like going to be like an hour and a half or 2 hour line, we have no way of standing in that line without being in immense pain. So like my back will not take that. So I need to do like constant sitting down and things like that. And I need to be in motion. If I stand too long, then my back starts to really, really hurt, and I have to sit down and I'm immobile for like an hour or two. So in order to get the best out of cons, I have to do ADA or it's just gonna kill me. Um, I mean, not obviously, but you know what I mean. The way they did it last year was you would go to the table, they would give you a little card that was smaller than a business card, so really, really easy to lose. And we even lost one, and they said, "Well, too bad you lost it. You got to go get another one with a different time on it." And they would put the line you're going to, whoever you were going to see, and then the time that you wanted to be there. And if you were not there at that time, too bad, you didn't get in. If you were there, it's like we did it where we were like at 1:30 or something. Let's say I don't remember the exact time. It's like let's just pretend it was 1:30. We got there at like 1:40, I think it was, and we're like, oh, we had something else. We had to use the bathroom or something. Some other excuse that makes sense. I think it was having to use the bathroom or something, so we had to be a little bit late. And they were like, well, too bad. Your thing says this time. You have to be here at this time. And we're like, well, what? Screw you then. And it ruined the experience last year for lines. And so I complained to them about it, and they basically told me, well, too bad, we don't care about you. And when we got there, they finally said, okay, we're just going back to the honor system. It's just easier. Which, I mean, they paid how much for all these guests? They got over 100 guests. They paid all of that, but they can't pay for just a sticker. Like they can't just pay for like one little sticker to put on badges. Like just a roll of like 1,000 or something. That's all you really need, because I doubt that many people are going to be ADA. How hard is that? You could just do that, but you won't. They will not do that because ADA apparently doesn't matter as much to them. So if that's a problem for you, just know that they fixed it. So if you had that problem last year as well, just know they fixed it this year. And hopefully they're going to keep it just at the honor system, or they just do the stickers so you don't have to keep going back and forth. Because they originally told me, too bad, you have to go back and forth, and then they changed it when we got there. So, and there's no way someone in crutches or someone alone in a wheelchair or something is going to go back and forth. That's ridiculous. And they wanted to do that. So, yeah, it's whatever. Like I said, they don't know how to run a convention apparently. How long have they been doing this? And they have no idea what they're doing. But they also made it so that you had to go outside to eat. In the pouring down rain. You had to go out in the rain to eat. You don't like that? Too bad, they don't care. Since they had so many guests, because they had to do that, they just had to have as many people as humanly possible and have more guests than any convention, because they got to do their own thing and be the cool people or whatever. They had to close down the inside, all of the food. You could not buy food anywhere inside, period. You had to go out in the soaking rain and get food, and even some of them didn't even have tents up so that you could stand under a tent and be dry. And even if they did, it was just a small, like, I don't know, like an 8x8 tent or a 10x10 pop-up tent. And so any line longer than that tent, you had to be out in the pouring rain just hoping you didn't, like, I don't know, have hypothermia or something because they didn't care. So that if you wanted to not starve, you had to drench in the rain. They didn't care. So that it was pretty bad this year. And I'm really, really hoping that enough people complain to them that they don't do that again. Because that was terrible. That was the worst decision they could have ever made. Starve or get soaked. Which one? And possibly ruin your thousands or hundreds of dollars worth of cosplay items. They didn't care. So I don't understand what was going on with this one. This was probably the worst convention I've ever been to. And I've been to OkiCon, if you've ever heard of that. And they were known as like the bad convention. People outside of the state know who that convention is because of how bad they were. This one was way worse this year because of that, because of all of this. So at least OkiCon was inside the entire time. So that says a whole lot. You didn't have to go outside for anything. They had everything inside one hotel. This one, like I said, you had to go outside and get drenched regardless of what you wanted to do. And even then, like, even if you had an umbrella, doesn't matter. It was raining sideways because of course it was. So yeah, that was the experience this year. Hopefully it changes next year. It would have been much better if it didn't rain, but the forecast was known that it was likely going to rain, or at least a little bit, and they still decided it was a good idea to not let you have food options inside. They knew that ahead of time. So I don't know what to do anymore. We don't know if we're going to go back. We're going to see what happens with the next year's and see if they start saying that they're changing things, the layout changes or whatever, and see if they fix things and they say that they're fixing things. And if they do, then sure, we'll go back. But if they don't, we may not go back next year. We don't know. And also, they raised the price to $120, even though the only thing they did was get 100-something guests, and then lied, saying that that has nothing to do with why the price increased to $120 from $90. Yeah, that makes no sense. It rose $30, and the only difference is that they got like double the amount of guests and had to pay thousands more dollars for guests. And then they said that that had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I believe that. Sure, guys. As you can see, this review is just negative all around. But the rest of the experience, walking around the vendors, talking to the voice actors, and Sunday wasn't raining, so we did get to cosplay. So they had this Star Wars thing going on where it was like a big experience. We can be in there with Star Wars. I got a bunch of pictures in there. On Sunday, I was like, we went there Saturday, like evening, like, or well, whatever, like in the middle of the afternoon or whatever, maybe 2-3 o'clock. We noticed it. We're like, oh, cool. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll cosplay my Sith if it's not raining. And it showed no rain for Sunday. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And then he wore my Among Us. We were debating, we were looking throughout this room because they're all over here. We were looking for all my different cosplays and seeing what fit him. And Ash was the first one from Pokemon, because I have my hat right there and I have a Pikachu in a thing out in the hallway. And all he has to do is get the jacket, and he could just wear one of my black shirts or something. And because it doesn't matter if it's too big or not, because he has a jacket over it. And then the green, yellow gloves. And we can't find the gloves. I can find the gloves. We can't find the jacket is what I meant. We can't find the jacket at all. I don't know what happened to it. So I have to look for that. And then we're like, okay, fine. How about Mario? Mario's voice actor's there. Maybe we can just go in line and meet him as Mario, even if he's not getting an autograph. I got one on Saturday, I got one on Friday, but he wasn't going to get one because he didn't have anything. But if he was going as Mario, go meet him as Mario. Sure, just say hi. You don't even have to buy anything. But we couldn't find that either. I have no idea where my Mario stuff is. It's just gone. So we're like, whatever. And we found my old Among Us costume from 2022, I think it was, or 2021, where I did a thing at KomoriCon where I stabbed people at KomoriCon for a video. So he wore that, and people loved it. People liked my Sith too. And he took my Sith to his house so that we can do it down at KomoriCon. And he took the bleach stuff too, but that doesn't matter. But so since I was my Sith, I went in there and did a bunch of pictures in the Star Wars thing. So I did that. And then that was really fun. And then there was just a bunch of other things where we talked, like I said, talked to voice actors. We got to meet up with friends that we had, a bunch of other stuff. And so that experience was fine. That experience was great. We got to see our friends and stuff. So we were pretty happy about that. That pretty much made the convention much better than it was on Friday. And since we figured out we're not doing Saturday now, we're not cosplaying Saturday, we just went and did a thing, and just walked around. It made it a little more easier and less stressful because we didn't have the costume with us, the stuff that can get destroyed, like my electronics, like my amp and stuff like that. So, and my guitar. So, because we were in now the mindset of just walk around, it made it way easier and less stressful. But anyway, that's pretty much it. For these videos, I don't give them a score or anything. I just give you the information and let you know if you want to go. If you don't. But yeah, sorry, this went on a little long, but there's a lot of information from this one. So this is probably the longest one of these. And I did ramble a little, I guess, but sorry about that. But anyway, that is going to be it for this video. So if you like it, give it that thumbs up. Subscribe for more. I'll see you guys later.